Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 VC review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Super Smash Bros, which if you've never played it before, it's basically a fighting slash beat 'em up game. At the start of the game, pretty much very basic, 1P mode versus mode, very limited options, and then data just basically shows things off, so you don't have to worry about that. 1P, you've got the 1P game, which basically I'll show some of that off. You've then got the bonus mode, so I'll show them off as well. The whole point is you go to the character selection on one player, you can choose your time limit and that, you can choose your difficulty, you can choose your lives and stuff, and then you can choose of one of 8 characters with another 4 to unlock. And basically you can unlock them in different ways. Luigi, I believe it is unlocked simply by beating the game in under 20 minutes and then beating Luigi. You've got like one of them, you have to just beat a certain thing. There's one for beating all the bonus modes and that. To be fair, that might be Luigi. But the unlockable characters, in case you don't know, are basically Luigi, Nez, Captain Falco, and Captain Falcon even. And then you've got Jigglypuff as well. The whole point though, as I was saying, it's basically a fighting game. You've got your percentage at the bottom and your enemy's percentage. Because the whole point is you have to beat the crap out of your opponents, whether they be computer or human or whatever. And you quite literally just have to win, basically. You've got lives, they've got lives, and on the one player, the whole point is you've got to deplete all their lives. You go on to the next stage, where you'll then eventually fight the boss, which is the Master Hand, which is pretty cool to fight the boss, to be fair, because he's got HP instead of lives and that. You've got a numerous amount of attacks, really, to be fair. I know that sounds stupid. You've got, like, if you link here, you've got sword attacks. You can do power attacks and that by slamming a direction on the control stick and pushing the attack button. Each character's got their own special attacks as well. Things like Link's got Boomerang. Unfortunately, the arrows aren't on this one because that was something that was brought into the later games. So if you've played the later games, you might be a bit disappointed with this one because it's pretty basic. But there's things like Yoshi still got his egg ability, Samus still has her gun, and just other stuff like that. Other character signature moves type that. The whole point of Brawl, Melee, Smash Bros, all of them really though, is the multiplayer. So even though it looks pretty much similar to this, I'm actually just going to cut into a multiplayer fight now. For multiplayer though, options are a bit different. For example, you can put computer opponents on if you wanted to, and you can choose their difficulty level as well, so that's really good. You can choose handicaps, you can choose damage and stuff like that, and you can unlock the ability to switch items on and off, because it's not just a fighting game like this. I know that none of them have appeared so far, but speaking of the devil, there's a crate of them. Basically, you can get zany items on the game. So they are things like, well, for example, the Maxim Tomato, which actually gives you health. You can get a fan, you can get that pinball bumper, you can get Pokeballs, which spawn Pokemon to come out, and some of them are really good and kick the crap out of people. Some of them, like Goldeen, just literally do nothing. You've also got things like the good old-fashioned Mario Hammer from the original Donkey Kong, and it even plays the music. You've got invincibility stars. There is all sorts of items on the game, and it just makes the game what it is, really. I know there's a load of people who prefer to play the game without the items, and to be fair, I like that as well, which is why it's a great option that you can switch them off, because sometimes you do just want it to be a fighting game like this. But as I say, the whole point is it's for multiplayer fun and that, so whether you're playing hell even with like hard computers or just with your mates, you can have some great fun with this. And while the single player is the type of thing that you'll beat it in a few hours if that, because of the 12 characters and it's all very samey and you might even never go back to it, the multiplayer is the type of thing that can last for hour after hour after hour. I must have racked up well over 200 hours just on this game, and then about another couple hundred on Melee, and then unfortunately about 40 on Brawl. I didn't hate Brawl, I just don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first two, and it's the type of thing that while some people, if they've only played Brawl, might find this too basic, it's also the type of thing that I'd say it's definitely worth a look, because I personally prefer this one hands down every time. Graphically, the game looks just like an N64 game, but for the time, to be fair, the models and all that look brilliant, and musically it sounds great. Each of the stages has different music, and there's basically, not including the final destination, which unfortunately isn't playable on this, there's 9 stages, including one that can be unlocked, and also a random mode. But anyway, as I was saying, I will show off these bonus modes, so here they are now. So this is basically the first one. Everyone's got one of these. Basically you have to break all the targets and you have to do it in the fastest time possible. And you're allowed to use any of your attacks for that, so you can use the boomerang, you can use your special jumps and that, you can just use any normal attacks and stuff like that, as long as you break all the targets. If you fall down, then that's it. Game over. This one, however, which again everyone's got, is basically you have to land on the platforms, and there's all sorts of things to get in your way, whether it be moving platforms or these bumpers and that, and it's just the type of thing that can really do your head in. But again, you've got all your powers at your disposal, so you can just do whatever the hell you want to. And to be fair, Kirby's and Jigglypuffs and that are some of the easiest, simply because of the extreme jump abilities, basically. But again, with that, you fall down and it's game over. The stages on the games, basically just going back to them, never particularly boring. They've all got some slight little things about them. This one, for example, acid comes up from the ground, or lava, or whatever you want to call it, and it basically damages the people and you've got to run away from it. So it's one of them things that if you really are after a straight, sensible beat 'em up type thing, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. Pretty much the only downside to the game is actually a VC thing. This game played fantastic on an N64 pad. Classic controller, on Brawl, it worked because you could map the controls. On this, it doesn't. The controls are absolutely horrible, and in no joke here, I have to actually restart the review simply because I couldn't play with the controls any longer. I rake out one of my GameCube pads. So it's one of those things that I really would recommend the GameCube pad for this. If you don't have them, it might be a bad idea buying it, because it's basically E and B your attack buttons, Y and X your jump buttons, just like it pretty much was on, well, on Brawl, on Melee and that. The only difference is obviously the buttons are in a different place, and I personally find it terrible to use them. As well as attacking though, to be fair, I haven't actually mentioned defense, because you can put a shield on, you can dodge, you can grab, you can do this, that and the other, and grabbing with certain characters is really cool, because Link, for example, uses his hookshot, Samus uses this, to be fair, kind of beam-like hookshot, and just things like that. Well, the only other thing left to mention is back to the modes. Basically, as said about the lives and that, you can also have team battles, which you might have noticed that we're on now, and you can also have time battles. So it's a simple case of after you die 5 times, if that was what the lives you had it on, then you don't have to worry, you'll just come back. It's just a simple case of whoever dies the most and whoever kills the most loses and wins respectively. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.